Welcome back into the Bettor Hour. Before we keep the show rolling, want to make sure you at home are betting responsibly. Visit haveagameplan.org for more information. It's a marathon, not a sprint. All right, we're getting into a little Futures Fix MLB talk. It's about that time to start flirting with some MLB Futures. Going to throw a few to you guys, get your thoughts on everything. We're going to start out with the Cleveland Guardians to win the AL Central at plus 330. Jeff, I'm going to come to you first. Entering Wednesday, tied for first with the Twins in the AL Central and 8-2 in their last 10 games.
Oh, I'm throwing money on it, and I also have a stock up on it. The little T is coming later. The stock, I'm buying the stock in the Cleveland Guardians. This is a team who's been crushing it in June, and they were plus 380 to make the postseason last year. And I'm going to speak about that too. That was one of the things that stuck out to me. And now they're battling with the Twins. I think it's a safe pick because the AL Central is always weird. You know what I mean? Like, there's always somebody that comes up that you didn't think that was going to be at the top before. And I think the Guardians could be that. This is one of those future bets where if it didn't hit, I wouldn't be mad. Because what they're showing me now is they're going to be competing for the rest of the season. So I like that bet. I really like that bet a lot.
Katie, your thoughts? So they started out 19-24. When you win, just from your overall perspective, 6 series in a row from a betting perspective, how much do you need to see more of a team that's won 6 straight series before you consider firing on them?
I get kind of worried if they've won 6 straight in a row because then I feel like they're due for a little bit of regression. It's so hard to keep that winning. Obviously, the Yankees went for a long run. We saw them lose one last night. So it's like you want to get someone on the come up. You don't want to get them when they're at the top because that just means they're due for a little dip.
Sounds like you've been dabbling in crypto. Don't buy at the top.
Winter is here.
We're going to keep it moving to the Los Angeles Angels to make the postseason at plus 330. EC, I'm coming to you. We know Mike Trout entering Wednesday. He's tearing it up, 326, 8 homers, 15 ribbies. Although this team has been through a lot already. They had that double-digit losing streak. They let go of Joe Madden. Last night, Ohtani had 2 home runs. They came all the way back to force extras and then lost 12-11 the Royals. How do you feel? What's the temperature in the room for you with these LA Angels?
Well, I think they can definitely turn it around. You know, when you get rid of your coach, sometimes that's motivation for your team, and that kind of picks everything up. They have the talent. You know, you talk about Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. They have a ton of talent offensively. They have a bullpen that can get it done. I think that they can pick things up and continue and end up making that playoffs. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but they're going to have to band together. You're starting to see those stars pick it up, and when the stars pick it up, everybody else comes and they follow. So I think that's going to happen with them.
They're on the no-bet list for me. Every time I take them, it doesn't work. It's like the Nets. The Angels are me.
Right. Well, Eric, and I love asking these athlete questions. It's the exact opposite of a 17-week schedule. It's 162 games. So if you were in that locker room and you're coming off a 12-11 loss like this, you know this team has the talent, but they're not getting the wins in the W column. What could you do in that locker room? What kind of Pacino any given Sunday speech would you give the guy to your left and right in the locker room?
Well, I mean, it goes along the lines of what you were saying about betting. You know, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Yeah. You have to continue to chip away, continue to work on those weaknesses, and they're going to eventually pick up. You know, one of our coaches told me, what's the best way to eat a whale? And it's one bite at a time. Wow. You got to take one bite at a time, keep stacking up the wins, keep that chemistry, keep the locker room locked in and close and believing in each other. And I think they can turn this thing around.
I love it. All right, we're going to some NL MVP talk. Jeff, you know I'm going to you with the Mets first here. Pete Alonso to win the National League MVP at 7-1, plus 700 right now. What are your thoughts?
I think you hop on this ASAP because records have a lot to do with MVP, right? So if the Mets can continue their trajectory, you have to look at, well, why are they in first place? Why do they have the best record in the National League, right? Like that's what you have to look at. And Pete Alonso is somebody who's leading in RBIs. He's doing this thing in home runs. And his best availability. You got Machado that's hurt, Mookie Betts that's hurt. Right. So right now, if he can keep his pace, he's going to be the clear-cut favorite. He just has to keep it up, and the Mets have to keep winning. So I think that's actually a pretty great bet to take right now.
I like that bet too. I mean, just when you're putting the bat on the ball consistently, you're hitting the ball well. He's doing it all from offense to defense. You know, I just really like the way he's playing. He's picking it up for some of the lost talent that they've had with the injuries. Mm-hmm. Once that bullpen gets back in, once some of the key players get back into the fold, it's just going to rise up for the Mets.
All right, last but not least, good problem to have if you're a Yankee fan. Who would you pick to win the AL Cy Young? Garrett Cole at 8-1 or Nestor Cortez at 8.5-1 plus 850? Katie, how you feeling on this one?
I'm taking Garrett Cole on this one, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. I'm down on Nestor Cortez right now. I mean, the guy let me down last night with those 2 home runs let in the first inning. So I like Garrett Cole on this one. He started out a little bit slow. He's been really doing well, and I feel like Nestor is just going to kind of even out a little bit. We're going to see him be as good as he was last year, but not incredible.
You know what? To that point, I may fade him until the odds get a little higher for us or more favorable, like plus, like if it's 10-1 or whatnot. That might be when I throw it on Nestor Cortez because he's come out of nowhere to be in that top ranking. So he might have a little down period, but everybody's gonna hit that wall at some point.
He's getting a lot of home runs hit on him in the last few games.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it might be more value if you wait a little bit more. But right now, I'd probably put it on Cole because he's the proven commodity.
Yeah, EC going with the veteran or the rook?
I definitely stay with Cole. Yeah, I mean, he's a workhorse. He just continues to get better as the season progresses. He knows how to take care of his body. You're not going to see him get too high, too low.
Yeah.
He's just been consistent his whole career. I would go with Cole.
Is there anyone else in the AL Cy Young conversation you would even hedge with?
I mean, every time you see Verlander, you have to,
you gotta
pay attention.
honor it.
Consider it.
You have to honor it. He's a perennial candidate, right? So that guy. And Gausman has been quietly been consistent
Plus
for the Blue Team.
1900.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Anything can happen, injuries, anything. So you gotta just keep your eye on it. So I'd have my eye on all those guys.
I love it. That has been Futures Fix MLB Talk. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, I'm hopping over there to talk a little Lynx Locks, a little golf here on the Bettor Hour.